Hey everyone, it's me, Ricky Flores of the Margo and Ricky team. Today, I want to talk to you all about the NAR lawsuit. I've had some conversations with clients recently asking me about this, so I thought if they have questions, I'm sure you do too. Keep in mind, I am not an attorney, so do not take this as legal advice. But here's what I'll be talking about in this video. First, I'll talk briefly about the ruling based on my understanding. Second, I will dive into the media coverage of the ruling and rhetoric and narrative surrounding it. Third, I will provide you all with a bit more context as to how this relates to California real estate. Lastly, you will get my honest assessment of the ruling. So let's get into it. So the case everyone is discussing is called Spizer versus the National Association of Realtors, or NAR. According to U.S. News, the class action lawsuit, Spizer versus the National Association of Realtors, alleged that NAR, Keller Williams Realty, Anywhere Real Estate, formerly known as Realogy, RE/MAX, and Home Services of America, all major real estate brokerages, colluded to artificially inflate agent commissions. They are alleging that by having the sellers pay the commission as part of the sale, that this violates antitrust lawsuits, reduces competition, and inflates the commission to more than the services provided. In order to list a house for sale in the MLS, the sellers must offer a commission to the agent who represents the buyer. Typically, commissions are split 50-50 between the listing agent and the buyer's agent. Seems fair, but that's not how the jury saw it. The judge ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, awarding $1.8 billion in damages. That is huge. Now let's talk about the media coverage of the ruling. Take a look at some of these national and local headlines. The coverage of the ruling is painting realtors in a very negative light, as if we are villains and sellers are finally getting justice against them. They use phrases like collude and conspiracy and language such as liable for inflating commissions. I mean, it's tough not to take these personally being in the business. However, I will give you my assessment at the end of the video. There is obviously still a lot to come from this ruling, though from the get-go the media appears to have jumped on the realtor bashing bandwagon without fully knowing or understanding what the outcome of this will be. It seems as though they are rushing to judgment with a bit of clickbaity headlines to stir negative emotions, painting a blanket narrative of realtors are bad. So how does this case relate to real estate in California? Well, in all honesty, the practice of real estate in Missouri, where this case was filed, is very similar to how we practice here in California. When a seller signs a listing agreement to list their property with a realtor, there is a section in the exclusive authorization and right to sell that speaks directly to the commissions. As you can see, it clearly states the amount of real estate brokerage fees is not fixed by law. They are set by each broker individually and may be negotiable between the seller and the broker. Let's break that down a bit. Fees are not fixed by law. Fees are negotiable between the seller and broker. I read that a few times as I was writing the script, and it hardly feels like this is colluding or conspiracy in any way. As it pertains to the amount of commission paid, that is predicated on the sale price of the property. I'll break down the commission in more detail a bit here shortly to illustrate that point. Realtors are one of the very few businesses, yes, businesses, who will provide their services upfront without any form of payment from the client. Realtors pay out of pocket for marketing services such as, get ready, photos, videos, flyers, postcards, newspaper advertising, digital advertising, for sale signs, custom websites, virtual tours, 3D tours, etc. The list goes on, and this is without a guarantee of ever recapturing their initial investment. There is never any guarantee of a property selling. If the property does not successfully close escrow, the realtor never sees a penny. That is a huge investment in capital for realtors and can amount to in excess of $10,000 over the course of a listing, depending on the property. Lastly, let's not discount the time commitment listing agents make to their sellers, compiling disclosures and inspections, for example, and organizing them for potential buyers and their agents, ensuring that these seller disclosures are properly completed and not missing any crucial information or signatures. Let's not forget combing through 300 to 600 pages of HOA docs at times. This is a significant undertaking for listing agents and is one that is difficult to quantify. However, I don't think it can be underestimated. Now let me break down the commission for you. To give you some numbers for context, let's use a $50,000 commission for example. Listing agent makes $50,000 in commission for the sale of a seller's home. Of that, 6% is taken off the top for brokerage services, so we're now looking at $47,000. Now deduct $10,000 for marketing and advertising expenses. Let's not forget Uncle Sam's cut. We'll estimate 30%, which reduces the take-home pay another $15,000. So, of the $50,000 in gross commission to the listing agent, after all expenses are accounted for, is now looking at a net commission of $22,000. Less than half of the total commission paid is net to the agent. Next, In California, we truly value representation and the cooperative nature of contractual negotiations between listing agents and buyer's agents. A listing agent's fiduciary duty is to represent the sellers and their best interests, while the same goes for buyer's agents and their buyers. As a listing agent, our job is to prepare properties for sale to maximize the sale price for the sellers. A house is one of their largest assets, and it is our job to maximize what they can achieve in returns on their asset. This includes recommendations on contractors, painters, stagers, inspectors, photographers, videographers, etc. We're not just selling a property, we're selling ourselves as realtors and the products and services that we provide. As a seller in California, the commission you pay to your listing agent reduces the sale price of the property according to the IRS, which decreases the taxes you will pay on the property. For example, if you sell your home for $1 million and you pay 5% commission, $50,000, the net amount of $950,000 is what the IRS views as your selling price, equating to a lower capital gains base. For buyers of property in California, the ruling of the NAR lawsuit impacts buyers in ways that might not be fully understood yet. However, here's my take on it. In certain states, like New York, the contractual negotiations are performed by attorneys and not realtors. Commissions are written into the purchase agreement by the realtors, though the actual negotiation of terms for buyers and sellers are done by the attorneys. In California, realtors negotiate the terms of the purchase agreement, and we also perform a number of tasks and duties for their clients outside of simply writing contracts. This business is and always has been a people business and about the relationships we build with our clients. The relationships we build with other realtors are of extreme significance, as this is a very cooperative business. Both parties aim to mutually agree on terms for their respective clients. My thoughts are that if buyers are free to negotiate fee structures similar to listing agents, then the lending industry will need to go significant changes as well. Lenders look at the amount of money a buyer has in terms of reserves as a factor for the overall qualification, and if buyers will be forced to pay their buyers' agents, this will reduce their available reserves, which means in turn lower. Lenders look at the amount of money a buyer has in terms of reserves as a factor in their overall qualification, and if buyers will be forced to pay their buyers' agents, this will reduce their available reserves, which may in turn lower their purchasing power and loan qualifications. That's not to say this is where this will end up, though this may still be the case. This is something to consider. There is still much to be decided from the ruling, and I would expect to see changes of some sort take place in the real estate industry as a whole, but to be honest, all we can do is speculate until more information is made available and we have time to digest it. Realtors are not just people. They are small businesses, and I feel as though the media has neglected that fact, as it does not fit the narrative, unfortunately. Can realtors make a lot of money? Yes, they can and do. However, as I illustrated earlier, the net of that commission is sometimes less than 50% of the gross commission after all expenses are accounted for. We work extremely hard for our clients, often being available 24/7, and we do it with a smile on our faces. We meet property inspectors, appraisers, we show properties to buyers at all hours of the day and night. We host open houses, we host broker tours, we pull comparable property sales and take into account the current market temperature to provide the most comprehensive picture of the market to our clients. And we do all of this without having earned a penny. We are coaches, teachers, volunteers, philanthropists, neighbors, friends, and family. I know this was a lot, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Hopefully I've enlightened you a bit on the lawsuit and the ruling. As always, my contact information is right here. I'm always just a call, text, or click away. Until next time, be safe and happy holidays, everyone.